community's attention from the horrors of what's happening in the Indian illegally held Kashmir, India deliberately raises tensions with Pakistan. A durable solution for India lies in focusing on its internal problems instead of raising fingers on other countries. India has been deploying the allegations of terrorism to achieve a strategic objective for long. India has a history of using the excuse of terrorism for introducing draconian laws to suppress the innocent Kashmiris in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and to defy the UN Security Council resolutions, bilateral agreements, and international law. A case in point being India's illegal and unilateral actions of 5th of August 2019 reminds us of the blatant violation of the relevant UN Security Council resolutions and the Fourth Geneva Convention, as well as India's own commitments. India needs to explain why such incidents usually coincide with high-profile visits. Please make no mistake, the root cause of instability and conflict in South Asia is the unresolved and long-festering Jammu and Kashmir dispute. India's illegal occupation of the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir in stark violation of the UN Security Council resolutions and grave violations of the human rights must remain a matter of grave concern for the international community. At the same time, all such incidents are used to whip up domestic political sentiment for narrow political gains. We remain extremely concerned at the very vitriolic, highly inflammatory, and blatantly Islamophobic narrative being directed against the Kashmiris and the Indian Muslims. Indian media and political leaders are directing a similar discourse against Pakistan. This highly irresponsible ploy for narrow objective gains is dragging the entire region towards extreme instability. India made allegations against Pakistan after the Pahalgam attack without an iota of evidence and with such dramatic speed. Pakistan has nothing to do with it, and we have said so right from the beginning, and I repeat, Pakistan has nothing to do with Pahalgam incident, period. We demand an independent and transparent probe by neutral investigators as announced by the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Muhammad Shahbaz Sharif. Any TORs in this regard should be credible and mutually agreed. Pakistan has neither any connection to it, as I explained, nor is the potential beneficiary. At a time when Pakistan economy is stabilizing and we are making significant progress against terrorism, we need to question why this situation is being created by India all of a sudden and what is the motivation behind it. The actions that India has announced after its Cabinet Committee on Security are illegal and highly irresponsible. Holding in abeyance of the Indus Water Treaty is unilateral and illegal. There are no such provisions in the treaty. It cannot be amended without consensus. It cannot be terminated without consensus. And in case of any disagreement or issues, there are forums provided in the treaty which should be invoked. This action shows India's blatant disregard for the sanctity of international treaties. It sets a dangerous precedent. It strikes at a fundamental pillar of the regional cooperation with profound implications for regional and global stability. Pakistan is an agrarian economy. Millions of people are dependent on the waters being regulated by this treaty. Please don't forget, we gave up three rivers in this treaty. And I hardly can find a water distribution treaty in the world whereby a part of dealing with the distribution of water, the rivers could have only also been given up. I can't find. The National Security Committee of Pakistan has made it very clear that any attempt to stop or divert the flow of water belonging to Pakistan as per the Indus Water Treaty and the usurpation of the rights of the low riparian will be considered as an act of war. It is equivalent to an attack on the people of Pakistan and its economy. Other diplomatic measures by India are indiscriminate and unnecessary. India's actions and inflammatory rhetoric in the last few days are highly irresponsible. Being a responsible member of the international community, Pakistan believes in restraint and remains committed to regional peace and stability. However, in case of any act of aggression, Pakistan remains determined to defend its sovereignty and territorial integrity in exercise of its inherent right to self-defense as enshrined in Article 51 of the UN Charter. The world leaders I have been speaking to in the last few days after this incident, who have been requesting for the exercise of restraint, I have been making it very clear on behalf of our government, on behalf of the nation, Pakistan will not be the first one to resort to any escalatory move. However, in case of any escalatory move by the Indian side, we will respond very strongly. Let me raise some questions that need to be considered with respect to the Pahalgam incident. One, is it not the time for the international community to hold India accountable for its transnational assassinations in different countries, including Pakistan? Two, is it not important to distinguish between the international community's sympathy with victims of the incident and unwitting endorsement of Indian belligerence? Three, is it not that Indian propaganda is aimed at fabricating a casus belli for a military adventure? Four, don't you think that India's blatant disregard of international law and whimsical approach towards its obligations would lead to a highly unstable and unpredictable regional order? Five, isn't it high time for the international community to step in to condemn India and to prevent it from targeting people on the basis of Islamophobia and religious hatred? Six, can we deny that the dangerous Indian brinkmanship and efforts aimed at escalation can potentially lead to disastrous consequences in a nuclearized region and beyond? Notwithstanding above, Pakistan is cognizant of the developing situation. We are very alert. The armed forces are alert, and the National Security Committee resolve is very much there. We are vigilant, our armed forces are vigilant, and the nation will thwart any misadventure, responding in a befitting and decisive manner at the time and place of our choosing. Let me also share with you that it took no time that we issued the statement expressing our condolences. I was with Prime Minister in Ankara on an official 36 hours visit. After we landed, the news came, and the moment the meetings for which we had gone there ended in the evening, I was in touch with the Foreign Office, and the Foreign Secretary and I and the team finalized in consultation with the stakeholders, Pakistan's statement on this incident, number one. Number two, a press statement was lodged by US in the UN Security Council, and we received that statement. And prima facie, there were two very, I'm not sure whether they were intentional or there were two important things which were missing there. One was missing, one was additional. The Pahalgam did not have in which part of the world, so we insisted Jammu and Kashmir to be added. Number two, there was a reference to the resistance forum, and there was a condemnation of that forum. We were happy to do that, but we asked, can we have any evidence? Or even if they have self-claimed that they have done this, we'll be very happy. So obviously, we, on principles, all other 14 members agreed to our objections, amended the press statement, which has strongest condemnation with respect to the terrorist attack in Pahalgam. So don't tell me that Pakistan is not condemned. There are different forums of condemnation. Pakistan has condemned at the International Forum, where it is a responsible, one of the 15 members of the UN Security Council. Pakistan highest security forum, which is National Security Committee, has condemned it. We've condemned terrorism in all its manifestation, all forms and manifestations. Prime Minister has given a very clear condemnation statement when he offered the independent inquiry, impartial, transparent inquiry by independent, actors. So this is something rhetoric which the other side has been playing, that we did not condemn, we didn't do this. That is all wrong. So this is a brief detail I have shared with you, my opening statement. My colleagues sitting with me, spokesperson will walk you through with more detailed specific facts, and then, where necessary, Lieutenant General Sharif would step in to augment the facts. So over to you, Shafqat sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We have the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister has provided a detailed policy statement which outlines very clearly the main contours of Pakistan's policy on this development and what is happening in our region. We have a bit more detailed information to share with our colleagues and friends here. And this is basically an attempt to further build on what the Deputy Prime Minister has already articulated. And essentially, it is an effort to clear the fog of confusion and also to remove the miasma of disinformation, basically, and to clearly lay out Pakistan's perspective. So the sequence we are following is basically just to give you an outline of how our detailed presentation would flow. So first we will speak a few words about the Pahalgam incident, some details about geography, what happened. The second is the question of the larger problems which we have been witnessing, which is very evident, is the fake encounters and illegally held Pakistani prisoners in India. The third and very crucial, very important, it feeds into this whole picture, is the Indian-sponsored and abetted terrorism in Pakistan. This we will explain in some detail how it is happening and what are the mechanics and what are the implications of this. And finally, the last two sections deal with the internal repression in India and stifling of freedom of expression, basically. So the first part I'll start is the Pahalgam incident. Can we slide? Yeah, okay. So you have a good view of it. The incident occurred in Pahalgam, which is about 230 kilometers from the line of control, or 100 kilometers the crow flight distance. And it's a known tourist area. And it's very clear if you look at this map which has been on display here. The area is hilly and slightly treacherous in nature. An important detail now, this please keep in mind. The attack took place between 1350 to 1420 hours. This is the time window when this attack is taking place. But the FIR was registered at 1430 hours, within 10 minutes. Unfortunately, there were 26 people died. There was, including one Nepali national, and 16 people were injured. Indian security forces reached the site and launched a search operation, but 8 days have passed. So far, there is no news of any arrest, suspects information being shared about suspects or evidence being shared. But it is also even more interesting is that, first of all, in 10 minutes, FIR was registered, but with equal alacrity, the Indian social media accounts, they all follow a certain pattern. They are affiliated with the Indian External Intelligence Agency. We will give more detail about that. And they, in 10 minutes time, I think the attack lasted till 14-20 hours. Within short span of time, immediately Pakistan was started being blamed, although there was no evidence, nothing, no detailed information, but this being was pinned on Pakistan very, very quickly. And this is something very interesting to reflect on. The next, it's a पिछली slide पे जाएं. The slide before this. Yes. The other point is also you have to keep in view that when we are talking about 10-minute difference between the writing of FIR and the incident, it is a hilly track. Its minimum time is 30 minutes you need to get to the police station. This is very important to keep in view. So, but again, just to repeat myself, sounding repetitive, but the FIR is registered in a matter of 10 minutes. The timing raises serious questions about how information was processed so quickly. And writing of FIR is that it needs certain deliberation. Maybe someone called, but the point is you need to gather, this is the first information report, you have to have some contours of what happened actually before you get into the writing of the FIR. And that too in such difficult terrain, how all of this was done, basically. From this onward, now come to the next slide. I will now request the Director General ISPR, Lieutenant General Sharif, to take over this, the other part of the presentation. He'll share more details on this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. As the spokesperson has already given you an orientation of the area. So if you see the first slide, if you can go to the first slide, I'll just tilt a bit so that I'll be able to go along with you. If you can go to the map slide. If you see, this is the, if this is the crow distance from the Badori Bulge at the place, it is approximately 100 kilometers. And on the road and tracks, it is more than 200 kilometers. But that is from the tip of the Badori Bulge. From any nearest Pakistani town, let's say it's Bagh, it's even much more. So, what we are trying to do here is to walk you through facts of this incident rather than the allegations that are being made. So, if the allegation is that it's the Pakistan-based so-called terrorists did this incident, then you need to be cognizant of where it lies, how far deep it is inside the illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. If you see the terrain on this map slide, you will see that it's quite hilly. It's not the sort of terrain which is very friendly, and not a sort of terrain where the all-weather fair roads exist. It's mostly on 4x4 and the horseback that the travel is being done over there. If you go to the next slide, so there's a track, then comes the road. So approximately, if you see, it takes about, we can estimate that about 30 minutes for someone to move from the incident site to the police station. So if the incident, as per the FIR, was from 13:50 and it is 14:20 hours. So how it was humanly possible that within 10 minutes, the police was there, evaluated the situation, went back and registered the FIR. And if we see this FIR closely, there are 3 points. The time factor, the time aspect has been, I think, repeatedly, clearly enunciated. There are 2 more things that I would I would like to draw your attention that the FIR lodged after 10 minutes states that these were across the border. The handlers of this incident were across the border. So they established it in 10 minutes. While the incident was going on, before that, the intelligence or the security was so, we can say, flat that the incident happened, there was no intelligence, but within 10 minutes, they had such complete intelligence that they were established that it was across the border handlers. And secondly, it says over there that there was indiscriminate firing. However, we also know that a consistent narrative was made, is being made, that this act of terrorism was done on base of religion. That the Muslims, that it was the segregation was done and Hindus were killed. So I would request if you can go to the next slide. Now, if you please see this clip which has been made at the time of incident. Please run it.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. That's it.
You can see that the firing and whatever happening is not, there is no discrimination or segregation being done. Are the people being segregated, identified on the basis of religion? You can see in the background while this video is being made, right at the time of incident. Because this is that incident on the basis of which the segregation on the basis of religion has been claimed. So, because facts speak for themselves. On the next clip, he is the brother of the Muslim victim of this act of that happened of the killing of the innocent citizens over there. Listen to him.
जो मैं सुन रहा हूँ कि हिंदू मुस्लिम ये सब गलत है, क्योंकि मेरा भाई जो है जीती जागती मिसाल है उसका। ये जो बोल रहे हैं कि खाली हिंदू को टारगेट किया गया है, उसमें मेरा भाई भी है, वो मुस्लिम है। ये गलत बात है, इन्होंने मतलब गलत चीज फैलाई है।
So why this self-made narrative is being made? That is a question that has already been raised by the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister. If you go to the next slide, you see that immediately after incident at about 3 o'clock, the social media, the particular social media handlers in India started breaking the news at 3:05, exactly at 3:05 on the social media, a handle which is closely affiliated with their agencies, put the blame on Pakistan. It says Pakistan attacked Pahalgam through its proxies. Then the electronic media also comes into play. At 3:30, the electronic media is also saying that it's the Pakistan that is being done. You can listen to this.
There are reports coming in of 4 tourists who have been targeted. They've been attacked by the terrorists in Pahalgam.
Well, telltale signs of Pakistan's involvement is now emerging behind the Pahalgam terror attack.
So this confirmation is clear now that there were Pakistani terrorists.
Pakistan is not willing to digest that so much improvement has taken place in Jammu and Kashmir. So Pakistan is going to keep making such attempts.
So the allegations of Pakistan being responsible started coming within minutes, while the evidence is still awaited. And on the next, this social media post, which is at around 4 o'clock, you can see, if you go to the previous slide, if you see at 4 o'clock, they were sure and they started saying that it is the Islamist terrorists that have killed tourists. So the narrative of the Islamist terrorists while we are absolutely clear that terrorism has no religion. There are no Islamic terrorists, there are no Christian terrorists, and there are also no even Hindu terrorists, because terrorists have no religion. If you go to the next slide, I'll draw your attention towards that these social media accounts that started propagating that it's Pakistan, it's Islamic terrorism, they have been in play in this business of terrorism much before. Here you can see that Miawali, 4th November, once the attack occurred. So you see at one day before, the same social media accounts that are active in Pahalgam, the Indian social media accounts affiliated with their agency, one day before, that social media account is saying, tomorrow is a big day, so going to bed early. You can see that. And next day, it says, it quote tweets and says, good morning, Miawali. And there we see the Miawali terror incident being done by the Fitna al-Khawarij. So this is a collusion with the Fitna al-Khawarij, with the terror incident that happened in Miawali on 4th of November 2023. Then comes 6th October 2024, the attack on our Chinese friends in Karachi. Before the attack, there is a big day in the, and then it says huge blast in Karachi, more details to follow. And then the targeted ID explosion in Karachi near airport, car carrying engineer foreigner, perhaps Chinese. So there you see the collusion for the world to see that how the choreography is being done of predicting that we are going to hit, where, when the attack happens, and then its glorification on social media. And if you follow the media, then the electronic media automatically comes within minutes into play. And same thing you are seeing in Pahalgam. Why I'm making this point? Because if you do this forensic, this common sense forensic, you see that what happened also in Pahalgam. Moving forward, very recently, the Jafar Express, same account. Keep your eyes on Pakistan today and tomorrow. And then comes big Jafar Express train carrying Pakistani forces personnel from Quetta to Peshawar attack. The same accounts that are active carrying the narrative of the Islamist terrorists, Pakistan being responsible on play over here. But let's see, if we want to understand what happened at Pahalgam, that what are the people there in India and Kashmir saying. Let's see what they are saying, who are actually over there.
10 लाख से ज्यादा यहाँ पर आर्मी है। अगर यहाँ पर पोस्ट कोई शेयर करेगा ना, उसको रात में ही उठा लेंगे। अगर कोई पोस्ट गलत करेगा कोई शेयर, अगर यहाँ पर इतना फौज है, वो क्या कर रही है? वो जख मार रहे हैं। वहाँ पर 200 बंदे थे, तब वहाँ पर क्यों नहीं आर्मी थी? क्यों नहीं थी? वो कहाँ गई?
पहलगाम की जिम्मेदारी किसकी है? जिम्मेदारी तो सरकार ने लेनी चाहिए। पहलगाम की जिम्मेदारी, 27 लोगों की जान गई, वहाँ पे सिक्योरिटी क्यों नहीं थी? क्यों निकाली गई? तो तुम्हारा इंटेलिजेंस क्या कर रहा था? वो फेलियर नहीं है, ये सरकार का फेलियर नहीं है। ये प्लान करके मत करो।
सरकार तो गई हुई है, मतलब इतना बड़ा आतंकवादी का हमला हुआ, हमें कुछ पता ही नहीं है। पूरे आर्मी का देश है, उन्हें पता ही नहीं है।
चक्के नाकों पर आपकी हर जगह आपको मिलिट्री दिखेगी, पुलिस दिखेगी, सीआरपीएफ दिखेगी। किस लिए? बॉर्डर पे हैं तो कहां से आए? जहां तक पहुंचे हैं तो वापस कहां गए? जिस तरीके से किया गया, रिटेलिएशन नहीं हो सकता है।
अगर 7 लाख से 12 लाख के आसपास यहाँ सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस है, उसके बावजूद उनको ये पता नहीं इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर।
3 times सिक्योरिटी रैंकिंग में एक ऐसा लैब्स हुआ, ये सिक्योरिटी लैब्स है।
What happened to our intelligence? Have we failed somewhere? And if we have, why have we failed?
इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर है, सिक्योरिटी फेलियर है। यहाँ 7 लाख फौजी है जमा कश्मीर में, एक छोटा सा इलाका है, 7 लाख फौज है, वो कहाँ है?
वहाँ पे गाड़ी नहीं जा रही है,
पैदल इंसान जा रहा है, सिक्योरिटी इतनी है कि वहां से टेररिस्ट कहां से आ गए, वहां कहीं ना कहीं इनकी एजेंसी ही अटैक करवाती है।
The questions that the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister has raised, they are being echoed also within from India, because the facts are there for the people to see. Hear them out.
ये पुलवामा 2 है। पुलवामा 1 में कोई उत्तर नहीं मिला देशवासियों को। ये संयोग नहीं है, प्रयोग है। पूरी देश की जनता, मैं नहीं कह रहा हूं, पूरी देश की जनता, देखिए काफी लोगों को ये नहीं पता है कि पहलगांव कहाँ है, चंदनवाड़ी कहाँ है, बिसू टाप कहाँ है, गणेश टाप कहाँ है, शेषनाग कहाँ है, अमरनाथ क्या है।
आज 3 दिन हो गए हैं, अभी तक एक भी इस्तीफा क्यों नहीं आया, या कोई भी किसी ने भी अकाउंटेबिलिटी क्यों नहीं लिया है? आप क्या सरकार और क्या डिफेंस और क्या आप होम मिनिस्ट्री चला रहे हैं? आपसे अभी तक वो आतंकवादी पकड़े तक नहीं गए हैं। बेवकूफ नहीं है हम लोगों को सब समझ आता है।
कोई इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर नहीं था, इंटेलिजेंस इनपुट्स होने के बावजूद अटैक हो गए।
ये घटना घटी है, इससे लाभ किसको हो रहा है? कहाँ ढूंढते फिरोगे भाई? जो तो आपके बीच में यही घूम रहा हो, या कोई कश्मीर के लोग अपने यहाँ पे घटना करके आबाद होंगे?
This is the sister of the naval officer killed in the incident, that for 1.5 hours he kept on bleeding. So they could file, they can do the evaluation within 10 minutes that what happened, and they had filed an FIR against Pakistan. Within minutes, their social media is saying, and their officer is bleeding for 1.5 hours.
इसका मतलब ये चुप नहीं, ये किसी आने वाली चीज की आहट होने वाली है। जैसे एक साइलेंस होता है ना कुछ होने से पहले, कश्मीर अभी उसी ट्रिगर करता है।
देश में अब तक के सारे बड़े आतंकी हमले भाजपा की सरकार में हुए हैं, और भाजपा की सरकार आते ही देश और देशवासी सभी खतरे में आ जाते हैं। पहलगाम हमले के बाद से ही सरकारी कवियों ने पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ मोर्चा खोल दिया है और वीर रस की कविताएं पढ़ना शुरू कर चुके हैं। देश के गृह मंत्री ने अपना इस्तीफा क्यों नहीं लिखा, और प्रधानमंत्री को हमले के तुरंत बाद आतंकियों को धमकाने के लिए बिहार में रैली करने की क्या जरूरत पड़ गई?
जम्मू कश्मीर के पहलगाम के निकट स्विट्जरलैंड कहे जाने वाले बैसल घाटी में आतंकी हमला हुआ। डॉक्टर राहत इंदौरी साहब की पंक्तियां हैं, सरहद पर बहुत तनाव है क्या, कुछ पता तो करो, चुनाव है क्या।
So these questions that we are raising, that we are thinking, that the world is thinking, the most loud voice in fact is coming inside from India. The people who are seeing and watching what's happening. Now if you go to the next slide, is it first time that it's happening? No. There is a litany of using terror incidents for political ends. This is important, that these terror incidents have an objective, a political objective. We saw last time in case of Pulwama that how the terror incident in February was used for a political objective for change of status of Kashmir. And we are seeing now that a terror incident, that an incident that happened in Pahalgam is being used for the purpose of Indus Water Treaty, for distracting the Pakistan's continuous and very hardly fought and won war on the terrorism, the CT effort of Pakistan, and the efforts, the successful efforts for reviving the economy. And there is a list of these incidents. I'll just give you examples of 2 incidents. If you go on the next slide, so the history speaks for itself, that what happened in the Chatti Singhpura 2000, exactly 25 years ago.
Captain Duck, they were misused. ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ, ਪੂਰੀ ਪਲਾਨ ਬਣਾਈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ। ਯੂਨੀਫਾਰਮ ਚ ਆਉਣਾ, ਰਫਰਾ ਟੰਗ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਦਰਖਤਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਖੇਲਣ ਕੋਲ ਲੱਪੇ। CID ਪੂਰੀ ਖੜ ਲਈ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਪਿੰਡ ਇਸ ਪਿੰਡ ਚ ਵੀ ਕਿਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਸੌਂਦੇ, ਕਿਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਆ ਕਰਦੇ, ਕਿੰਨੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਹੈ, ਕੌਣ ਚੌਂਦੇ, ਮੇਲਸ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਨੇ, ਹਥਿਆਰ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਨੇ, ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ। And then one night they came, ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ चेकिंग के लिए निकल आओ बाहर आओ, सारे आओ, मेल सारे बाहर आ जाओ। वो लाइन अप कर लेते थे, पहला होता ही करते रहे फ्रेंडली लाइन अप, उन्होंने कॉन्फिडेंस देता, फिर फैसला किया, फिर अद्धी के दिन आ गए 10 बजे रात, निकलो बाहर, गुरुद्वारे को लाइन अप करे ताकि पच जाओ पिंड छड़ के।
वो तो कोई आर्मी वालों को एक्शन नहीं आएगी तो कोई।
We gave the full report. We said army was involved. Clinton kicked them out. Due to me, all lives have been lost. I want to know exactly what happened. The other human rights organization, United Nations, sent. And we sent them the report. क्या हुआ? They knew. Americans knew.
तो उस killing के पीछे political reasons भी थे?
No. Only this. That exposed the BJP government, and BJP government wanted to tell Clinton J&K की हो रहा पाकिस्तान के बरखिलाफ प्रोपेगेंडा करना सी। ये देखो पाकिस्तान की कर रहे हैं, पाकिस्तानी साढ़े सिख लाइन अप करके मार दे।
So basically BJP planted this
to impress Clinton, to help India against Pakistan. तुझे मान नहीं सकते, वो तो बाद जब ये रौला पे फिर अडवाणी ने फिर ऑर्डर दिया कि देखो जल्दी से कुछ करो जिससे कन्विंस हो जाए भी इन्होंने किया था, ये पकड़ लो किसी को। इन्होंने 5 इनोसेंट बंदे कश्मीरी बाढ़ के ऊपर जाके मारते जी, they were innocent boys.
Are you listening? After a quarter of a century, it's the same playbook being repeated again and again. Using incidents like Jyotir Singh Pura, like Pulwama, for political objectives. If you see, the history also tells us what was actually Pulwama. Please listen carefully to the then governor of the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir.
पुलवामा की शहादत को याद रखो और अब हम बालाकोट करेंगे, ये करेंगे, वो करेंगे। उसको इलेक्शन के लिए यूज करना चाहते थे कि ये पाकिस्तान ने किया, हमारे जवान मारे और अब हम हराएंगे। कि अब ये सारा ऑनर्स पाकिस्तान की तरफ जाना है तो चुप रहिए।
मतलब ये एक तरह की सरकार की चालू पॉलिसी थी कि ब्लेम पाकिस्तान एंड वी विल गेट क्रेडिट एंड इट विल हेल्प आवर इलेक्शन।
Exactly. Blame Pakistan to win, to take credit, win elections. Now, there is another important fact that needs to be considered in the situation that the region is facing today, and that is the phenomenon of the fake encounters using the illegally held Pakistani prisoners in India. We have the reports, we have the information that hundreds of Pakistanis being held by the Indians in different jails and locations are used and fake encounters projected as terrorists and infiltrators. I'll give you just few examples. This boy, Zia Mustafa, he was a minor in October 2013. He was taken in custody while he inadvertently crossed, shot down in a fake encounter on 14th October 2021. Listen to this story as told by his family.
ये जो इंडिया वाले हैं, मैं कहती हूँ इनको तो इनके सीनों में दिल है ही नहीं ना। इनके सीनों में अगर दिल होता ना तो ये कुछ ना करते। इतना अरसा उन्होंने कैद में रख के तो आखिर में जब उनका फैसला होना था तो उन्होंने उनको इनकाउंटर कर दिया और इन्होंने हमें उनकी ना डेड बॉडी दी।
पाला भी था वो, मेरे घर में भी नीचे आता था, मामी मामी करता था, इधर ही बाहर ही खेलता था। माँ ने बहुत मुश्किल दिन गुजारे, उनकी आंख नजर भी चली गई थी रो रो के। तो बस जब कोई इधर कोई आता था उनको मिलने के लिए कहते ज़िया मुस्तफा की कोई खबर है नहीं है, हम यही कहते थे कि वो आएगा, इंशाल्लाह जरूर आएगा। कहती थी कि मैं देख के मर जाऊं तो फिर कोई अफसोस नहीं है।
मेरी वालिदा मोहतरमा उसके इंतजार में वो वफात पा गई और इसी तरह से हमारे बड़े भाई, 2 बड़े भाई फौत हुए उसके इंतजार में। हमारा वो प्यारा बच्चा वो इस तरह से मार दिया, जेल से बाहर निकाल के ऐसे फर्जी नाम दे के कि उसको पता नहीं कौन सी जंगलात का पता था, उसको क्या पता था। जालिमों तुम्हारे
वो जेल में है, जेल से कैसे कोई बंदा राब्ता कर सकता है?
I will now give you two very recent examples post Pahalgam incident. If you see this slide, there you can see two unfortunate Kashmiri. One is Muhammad Farooq and Muhammad Deen. They are both elderly. They were both elderly 50 years ago, 50 years plus. Just few days ago on 24th April, in their residence of Uri, and they were killed in a fake encounter by the Indians. If you see the dead bodies, that Indians showed that they are infiltrators. The Muhammad Farooq, he is wearing joggers. His clothes are absolutely clean. And what they have put beside, after killing him, beside him, is a pistol. Is this the infiltrator where there is infested with regular forces going to take on a regular army, and those security forces wearing joggers and a pistol that they planted along with his body? On the other side, look at the shoes. He's wearing Mukeshan, shining shoes. You kill innocent, you plant evidence on them, and then you call them infiltrators? And what are these village people telling? That are they terrorists? Are they infiltrators? Listen to them.
हमारा असमिया हो गया, ये दो हमारे भाई ये सदियों से जा रहे हैं, इनका बाप है यहाँ का रहने वाला है, जो आलूसी के करीब ये गाँव है, कई मालूम बेसिक गुम हो जाता है, आलूसी के करीब उनको ढूंढने के लिए ये इंडिया आर्मी ने शहीद कर दिए, वो मार के कहते हैं कि ये दहशतगर्दी में दहशतगर्द के नहीं है। हमारे दो भाई इंडियन आर्मी ने इनको शहीद कर दिया है। वो गाँव के ज़ईफ़ुल उम्र थे, उनकी 50-60 साल उम्र थी, और उन्होंने रिपोर्ट में डाल दिया कि ये पाकिस्तान के दहशतगर्द थे। दहशतगर्द नहीं थे, वो ज़ईफ़ुल उम्र थे। एक का नाम मलिक फारूक और दूसरे का नाम नवरदार। ये कोई दहशतगर्दी में नहीं पाए जाते हैं कि अरसा दराज से यहाँ रहते हैं। इंडियन आर्मी ने फायर करके उनको हला कर दिया।
मेरे दो भाई अपना माल मवेशी ढूंढने के लिए एलओसी लाइन के करीब गए तो इंडियन आर्मी वालों ने फायर करके दोनों को शहीद कर दिया।
This is what they are trying to fabricate even after post Pahalgam, that the Pakistan is sending infiltrators and terrorists. You kill innocent people yourself. You plant weapons, and then you claim them as infiltrators. You claim them that the Pakistani security forces have sent them. Ask yourself that who is doing state-sponsored terrorism over here. Next example. This is 23rd April, just few days ago. A fake encounter that happened in Kupwara. Please hold your breath and see what they do once they are planting, once they are making their bodies, how they mutilate these bodies. Listen to this. These are soldiers of a professional army, hacking the head of a body of an innocent person and showing that these are the terrorists. This happened on 23rd of April in Kupwara. And that's why, if you go to the next slide, once you keep on seeing on the Indian media and their so-called evidence that this person has been found and this person has been found, from where are these persons coming? These are these Pakistani citizens, the Kashmiri citizens, who are held in different jails, in different locations. Like that poor boy Zia Mustafa and many other incidents that are on record, who are brought out of the jails, killed in fake encounters, tortured, forced to give confessional statements, posed as terrorists. This is the facts, this is the reality of what's going on behind all these incidents. Next, I would like to say few words and take a few minutes on the state-sponsored, the Indian-sponsored and abetted terrorism in Pakistan. Let's start with what the Indians themselves say about it. Please listen.
बलूचिस्तान के लोगों ने, वहाँ के नागरिकों ने जिस प्रकार से मुझे बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद दिया है, उसका आदर करते हैं, वो मेरे 125 करोड़ देशवासियों का है।
Pakistan's vulnerability is many times higher than of India. Once they know that India has shifted its gear from the defensive mode to defensive offense, they will find that it is unaffordable for them. You can do one Mumbai, you may lose Balochistan.
प्रधानमंत्री जी का लाल किले से बयान अपने आप में पहला है और मुझे बड़ी खुशी हुई इस बयान को सुनकर।
इस फोन में बुक्ति, मरी, मैंगल, कौन से सरदार का नंबर चाहिए मुझे बोलो, मैं दूंगा बलोचिस्तान में।
अगर हम पाकिस्तान के अंदर उनकी जो इंसरेक्शनिस्ट मूवमेंट्स हैं,
फॉर्मर चीफ ऑफ इंडियन आर्मी टॉकिंग,
हमें वो करना चाहिए।
उन्होंने बलूची को दबा के और गुलाम बना के रखे, तो उनको मुक्त करना है।
The aims and the targets of RAW to conduct the various terrorist
Kulbhushan Yadav, all of you are familiar with this Indian serving officer.
and any kinds of requirement are conveyed back to the RAW officials.
बैरून मुमालिक के फंड्स लेकर अपनी ऐश वशरत की जिंदगी गुजार रहे थे, आम मासूम बलोचों को मरवा रहे हैं। इस तमाम साजिशों में खासकर इंडिया का हाथ है।
मेरा मुलाकात हमसाया मुल्क हुआ, हम आपको सपोर्ट करेंगे रियासत पाकिस्तान को गैर मुस्तकिम होने के लिए।
महसूस करते हैं बलोच को सिर्फ एक प्रेशर ग्रुप के तौर पर इस्तेमाल करना चाहते हैं, या मैं समझता हूँ कि इसका नुकसान सिर्फ बलूच कौम का हो रहा है। दुनिया की नजरें तो हैं इस पे, इससे तो कोई इनकार नहीं कर सकता।
So these were the leaders of multiple terrorist groups operating in Balochistan, who having after surrendered are revealing in detail that how they were funded, they were helped, and how their sponsorship was done by India. In the next slide you can see a terrorist operating and sponsored by India, Aslam Achu, in Indian hospital, and an Indian provided passport of Afghanistan of his. In next slide, you can see that once the Jafar Express happened, the internationally recognized terrorist organization DLA, his spokesperson, where was he sitting? He was sitting on Indian channels, wearing a mask, coming on multiple Indian channels, and glorification of a terrorist sect, which, by the way, the state of India has not shown any concern or condemned so far. And they are glorifying it, taking its spokesperson over here.
बहुत बड़े पैमाने का एक ऑपरेशन है, सैकड़ों यरगमाली है, फिर उसमें फौजी भी है, बलोच लिबरेशन आर्मी की मजीद ब्रिगेड इसको लीड कर रही है, उसके जो खासूसी दस्ते हैं स्पेशल।
This is again very interesting. This footage that the Indian TV channels showed was made by the terrorists once the Jafar Express ID was blown. So this was only available with terrorists. And who are the first electronic channels who started showing it? It's the Indian channels. See it.
The attack took place at around 1 p.m. when the train passed through the Bolan Pass.
Big news coming in from Pakistan. Baloch Army say that more than 100 Pakistani Army personnel have been taken hostage. It's a big claim being made by the BLA. 6 soldiers of the Pakistan Army have been neutralized.
Artificial intelligence images being created.
The Pakistani train was hit by
old images which are not related to the incident being used to show that terror incident has been. So this is vehement, clear glorification of terrorism being done in Pakistan. If you move to the next slide, you will find that not long ago, it was Pakistan, as repeatedly has been telling this, and this is the evidence that Pakistan put in front in this room on Indian sponsored and abetted terrorism in Pakistan once the transnational killings of Pakistanis was done. Listen to this clip also.
We have credible evidence of the links between Indian agents and the assassination of 2 Pakistani nationals on Pakistani soil. These are killings for hire cases. Indian agents use technology and safe havens on foreign soil to commit assassinations in Pakistan. An Indian agent, Yogesh Kumar, orchestrated the assassination. We have documentary, financial and forensic evidence of the involvement of the 2 Indian agents who masterminded these assassinations.
And is it only restricted to Pakistan? No, it's not. It's transnational. Listen to what the other parts and the leaders of the other countries are saying.
Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
The allegations that a representative of a